Hi guys, today I'm going to try these acrylic markers from Arrtx, and this is a pastel set and I cannot wait to try this one out because these are the acrylic markers but with the brush tip. Until now I have tried other markers, but all of those ones had like that bullet tip, and these ones have a brush tip, so it will be really good to see how they perform. So what these are, they are water-based. They have brush tip, as I already said, bright and opaque. They should work on different surfaces. And as you see, this packaging is so nice. I really think that Arrtx did a great job with their packaging. I love the color. And on the back you have like a color swatch, but they say the color swatch is only for reference. And yeah, let's just take a look how they are. So, so let's see. Ooh, they look so nice. So let's take one out. So as you can see, we have a lot of bright colors because, as I said, this is a pastel set. They are, what do they have written here? Brush, Arrtx acrylic marker, high adhesion. I hope I said that right. Recap after use. Do we have any color number here? No, wait, yes, no, unfortunately. We do not have a color number on them. As I said before, on the back we have color swatch. 1, 8, 10. So actually you could write those numbers somewhere here. Unfortunately, I do not see the numbers on the markers themselves. Okay, so we have a lot of colors, so there should be 2 compartments because they said 30 colors. Let's take a look underneath. Ooh, and there is another set of colors. OMG, I cannot wait to try all of these ones out. Let's take a look at the brush. Oh, actually it looks really good. And yeah, you only get a brush tip, so you do not have 2 sides, only 1 side. They are easy to open and to close, which I really like. Which brand was it? There is one brand where I really have problems every single time when I use their markers because it is so hard to open, but these ones are easy to open and close. And yeah, let's just do the swatch. I really want to try them out, and then we will talk more. So let's just start and see how these markers are. So the thing is, so there is nothing inside. Usually with the Posca markers or some other markers, you have like a small ball inside which you can use to shake up the color. So you do not have that thing here, so you do not need to shake them up. It should work immediately, so there is nothing to press or anything. So the brush actually feels nice. So let's talk a little bit about the swatch of these Arrtx acrylic markers. So the first thing, when you use them, let's say it like this, you use them normally, you're not putting a lot of pressure, you're just coloring, then they will not be opaque, so they will be, well, semi-transparent, because as you can see here, you still see the marker line. I think there was only one color or two, so this one had a really nice coverage without anything, so also with light pressure, this one is really nice. All the others are, I would say, more semi opaque, but if you are putting more pressure down, then more color is coming out, or you're doing these lines but you're really pressing more on the paper, then the colors are getting really opaque. So you see here, even with this bright color, I almost covered the marker line completely. With these ones, they all look so nice, except for my red one. So I do not know, my red one does not seem to be really opaque. The white one is also not so good, not even when you press hard. But you see, with all the other colors, when you are pressing harder on the paper, as I said, like this, and you see you're actually getting almost two different colors between when you are doing just like light coloring and like really hard coloring. Hard meaning you're pressing more onto the paper, so more color is coming out, and you see you're actually getting two different colors with one marker, which can also be really useful. So if you want an opaque color, you do have to press stronger onto the paper. The paper that I have used for this swatch is the Stonehenge is Stonehenge paper for the colored pencils. I first did the swatch on another paper which I've used for Posca pens and other acrylic markers, and I actually did not like how the result turned out. So I will show you the swatch here. So these are other acrylic markers which I tried. And I also tried these markers from Arrtx, but I did not like how they worked on this paper. So this paper, this is the art journal, visual journal from Strathmore, Bristol Vellum. Even though I love this one with my other acrylic markers, I do not recommend this paper for these markers, because the coverage was just not nice. They did not work nice on this paper. I just did not like how they were covering the paper. So I tried a couple of different papers out. This one is from the Paul Rubens, the 100% cotton watercolor paper. You can also work with this one, but the paper is going to soak up more of the color. But just look at this coverage, okay? So this looks amazing. So this is as I said, 100% cotton paper, watercolor paper, but it is going to soak up more of your color. I would need to let this one dry, but let's do it here. You see, when I'm pressing hard and when I'm not pressing hard, I'm not sure if you will see the difference when it dries. And here also, so I'm just doing like light, and I'm doing, yes, when you are pressing more, you will not be able to make these really thin lines. That's the thing, because you're pressing more. This is a brush, so the brush will bend more and you will get a larger spot with your color. But beside that, I think that on this paper, actually, they just look at it. Wow. Okay, this looks really nice. They color really nice on this paper. So let's see if we can, yeah, we can actually mix them a little bit. So they dry pretty fast, and when they are dry, you cannot reactivate them. But as long as they are still a little bit wet, you can put another color on top and mix a little bit those two colors. But still, it will be difficult, let's say, to get rid of this line here, because if I go again with this marker on top, I will have the next line, and so on and so on. So on this paper, as I said, when you are like pressing, you just look at this and how nice it looks, okay? it really looks nice. And if this is light, now I think now this is a right color to show you what I mean. This is just like a light pressure, normal pressure, and this is when I'm like using heavier pressure. So then I am covering what is underneath. If you work really fast, you can still mix the two colors a little bit, so there will be a little bit of the transition, but can still create a nicer, let's say, transition from the darker to the brighter tone. So you can do that, but you have to be really fast, because once they are dry, then you will not be able to do that. So I'm just letting it dry a little bit here, and now I will try to mix these two. And as you can see, the line here is much harsher than this line, because it is already almost dry, so I cannot mix it anymore. So here is the wet brush, and just to show you that you cannot really activate them when they are dry. Now if I'm doing like a lot, I'm actually scraping a little bit. Yeah, there is a little bit of color, but not a lot when they are dry. One thing you can do, again, if you're really fast, you can use your brush on the wet color to move it a little bit around. For example, if you want to have like under layer, you could do that, but again, it's drying really fast, so you have to move really fast. And in this case, so now let's just wait a little bit for it to dry, and then you now have some coverage underneath, and you can put other color on top, and yeah, do something else or whatever you want. So that way you can do and make some transitions. And if you have like a damp, not a really wet brush, but like just a little bit, you can still move the color around and make those transitions. Let me try, for example, here the tickle. Oh, I do have to be fast, as I said. You see, this is like not really a wet brush, but a damp. I have no idea how to pronounce that, but if you have a brush which is just a little bit, has a little bit moisture on it, you can mix those two colors and get a nicer transition even than this one. Okay, so this is on the Paul Rubens watercolor paper, 100% cotton. This the one that has those sparkling dots on it, so you can use that paper. You have to experiment with these markers. I would not use them together with other acrylic markers as Posca or Molotov or Lyra or other ones. Why? Because I did try that just to see how it works here on my page. The thing is that I found that these markers are a little bit slippery, so they are actually more translucent, or I don't know how they feel really slippery when you use them on other acrylic markers. It is as I would be painting on glass. It just seems like that. So other markers are more plastic. Yeah, it feels like that. So when I'm using this marker on the other acrylic markers, the color is not, it does not really look nice. So for me, I would not use them together, for example with Molotov or Yono markers. Okay, so let's continue. I again also tried them on a darker paper. I think you can also see here. So when you use, again, when you use a light pressure, they will not be as opaque as when you use heavier pressure. And just look at this, okay? So if you are doing something like this, you can really get a nice coverage on a dark paper. I think like this you can see, it's always, as I say every single time, it is difficult to show you something on a black paper, but I think this here is a really nice example of when you press harder, more color comes out, so they are more opaque than when you just use light pressure, then you would have these translucent lines. Let's just take a look at the tip of these brush markers. They really remind me of other watercolor brush markers, like for example Tombow, or let's just take a look at these brush markers. So I have a Tombow. This is a watercolor brush marker. I just wanted to show you that from the size, the Tombows are a bit bigger, but let's see. Okay, so this brush is just a little bit harder than the one from the Tombow. I just wanted to show you that. So if you have a Tombow marker, you can imagine how these markers feel. So the brush is actually, I find it really nice. So it's not too soft, it's not too hard. You can still put some thin lines here. You can put thicker lines, you can put like really thick lines, and a lot of color is coming out when you do something like that. So yeah, you could actually use them even for brush lettering. I think it would be a waste, but you can use them. For example, as you can see here, thick lines. I would not do brush lettering on a darker paper, because if you remember, I showed this to you. So you have they are more translucent on darker paper, so I would not use them for brush lettering on darker paper. But on a bright paper, you actually do not notice that if you are not coloring on some lines or something. If you're just coloring on a white paper, you will definitely not notice the difference in the opaqueness. And let's just try one thing. I want to try it out. I'm not sure if it will work, because this color is not so fluid, you know, as a watercolor. So let's see. I will not do tip to tip, for example, for brush lettering, but if you want to color something and you want to have that transition, I would actually try doing this tip to tip technique, because that way you do get some transition here, you see. So here is dark and here is the bright, and the brush is clean again, so no problem there. So just do not forget to put the caps on in order for them not to dry out. And here one more time, this is dry. Oh, it's like a tiny bit that they are moving. I mean, it's not that they are moving, you see. It's just that when the brush is wet, I hope you can see that it is wet. It's just that when you continue to scrub, no, actually this color is not moving at all. This yellow, it was a little bit, it was this one. No, like this, nothing is happening. Yeah, just like a tiny bit, but I'm more like peeling off the paper. So they are definitely, I would say, waterproof, or They definitely do not reactivate. Okay, another paper I found to be nice, at least for when I just try them out, is this paper. It's a toned 10 paper from Strathmore. So I'm going to use this one for a drawing now. Here, there's another one. It's a mixed media toned paper from Strathmore. Also here, they stand out really nicely. Okay, so let's just try and do a drawing and see how it will turn out. So here I will have to work really fast, and I hope I will make it, because I want to color the sky, but there is like a lot of space where I need even coverage. So we will see how that is going to work. I'm gonna use, I think I do not need this one. I will try with these ones. So let's just see. Okay. So I'm using just a little bit of water, just a little bit, tiny bits, just to smooth out some of these lines. But I will try and go one more time up there. Okay, and now I will go a little bit further. I should have been more careful on the sides, or use the washi tape. Okay. But you see, by using just a dump, I hope it's the right word, just a really not wet, just a little bit brush, you can also move this color everywhere else. And I think I need more of this one, actually. More of this one down, yeah, it will look nicer. Okay. So I didn't make a mistake here. I really should have used a washi tape. Well, no washi tape. So the lower part is actually also this kind of color. We'll do it like this. And again, have a brush at your side, just so you can smooth out those lines. I'm not sure about this one, if I really need it like that. What is actually really nice with these markers is that you have this really thin tip with which you can actually put some thin lines here. this marker worked really good on this Strathmore toned 10 paper, so I tried it on both papers, this beige and also on the gray one, and I really like how the result has turned out. So you can get a nice transition if you use, for example, a damp brush. So you just wet your brush a little bit, wipe it off on a tissue, and so you do not need a lot of water. This is a thinner paper, so if you do use a lot of water it will buckle, but if you just use a little bit water it will not. And you see I did these two drawings and I really had no problems of putting some thin lines. And yeah, you can also put a little bit like do a like a tip to tip coloring, so you can put another color on top of the other brush, and then you can get like some transitions, and then you just have to clean the brush on a paper, and yeah, it will not be stained by the other color. I'm saying the brush the whole time, but of course I mean the brush of this marker and not the watercolor brush. Find it that they work really nice on this paper. And another paper which I found to work really nice also is a Stonehenge paper. This is for the, I think they recommend it for the colored pencils. I found that, for example, here doing the swatches, it works really nice. You get a nice coverage. And also another paper which you can use is the one from the Paul Rubens, the 100% cotton paper. So with this one you really can color nice. Let me just try and see how, is it this one? No, it's this one. How well this is going to work, and if it is going to work at all. My brush already dried out, so now I have to be fast. Yeah, that one small part here already dried, so we will have to redo that. It is actually better to leave these markers to dry completely before you start and do something else, because you could start and peel off your paper because they are really wet. A lot of color is coming out, but as you can see, you can get also a nice transition on this paper if you use the damp brush. Okay, so just using two markers, it will be difficult because these markers are pretty far away with the color, so you will always have this line in the middle. But if you use the brush, you can actually get rid of that line, and that is really nice. Yeah, so I definitely love these markers. We'll be using them more for sure. I think I will be using them on both of these papers. I love how they work on the Strathmore Tone 10 paper. You can get a nice smooth coverage. Yeah, unfortunately I did not put the washi tape here. I should have put it. It would have been much nicer, but why not? Let's put let's do something, because I really do not like how this looks like. I think now it's better. At least that pink one is not really standing out. And if you do not like something, you can color over it, because they are not moving when they are dry. As long as they are wet, you can use your brush, damp brush, to mix the color and get a nice transition. So even though this is a really thin paper, I think this is maybe 120, okay, it's 180 GSM. Nothing comes through onto the other side. As you can see here, you have nothing on the other side. So you do not have to be afraid that you will get something on your next sheet. I'd also tried them in this coloring book from Deco Time. Also here, it looks really nice. I think they can work really well on this paper. This is a thicker paper, but it is still pretty nice and smooth paper. So I just tried it here on these two petals just to see how the coverage is, and they look really nice. And I also wanted to tell you that Arrtx sent me these markers to try them out, and I think it is really great that a company like them is supporting artists on YouTube or Instagram or wherever. So I think that is really nice that they are sending the stuff for free for us to try out. And yeah, I definitely love these ones, and the packaging is also really nice. If I did not say that, I'm gonna tell you again that this packaging is so nice. Well, I love the colors. And this is the pastel set, and you can do a lot of stuff with these markers. And I just wanted to do another small drawing because it is so fun to use these markers. But I'm gonna tell you right now, thank you for watching. See you next time, and enjoy if you want to keep watching. Bye.